So many of the questions in the second debate, both night one and night two, were framed in a right-wing way by Tapp Jaker. Now, the thing that's so annoying, and the other CNN moderators, not just Tapp Jaker, but the thing that's so annoying is that as they frame things with a right-wing bias, they act like it's objective. And they're just like, what do you mean? No, I'm just asking a question and keeping it real. No, you're not. No, you're not. So there's countless examples of this, but I want to give you what I think is one of the worst examples. Let's take a look and then we'll discuss.
Senator Sanders, President Trump has argued that the United States cannot continue to be the, quote, policeman of the world. You said the exact same thing on a debate stage in 2016. If voters are hearing the same message from you and President Trump on the issue of military intervention, how should they expect that you will be any different from him?
Trump is a pathological liar. I tell the truth. We have been in Afghanistan, I think, 18 years, in Iraq, 16 or 17 years. We have spent $5 trillion on the war on terror, and there are probably more terrorists out there now than before it began. We're going to spend, the Congress passed, and I will not vote for, a $715 billion military budget, more than the 10 next countries combined. What we need is a foreign policy that focuses on diplomacy, ending conflicts by people sitting at a table, not by killing each other.
That was a great answer by Bernie. Really good answer by Bernie. But that question, man, it just gets under my skin because it is incredibly disingenuous. So what he's trying to do there is conflate non-interventionism with Trump. He's trying to make it seem like it's indefensible and trying to make it seem like it's scary and outside of the norm because, ooh, you agree with big bad Trump on, not being the policeman of the world. Jake, the last 3 presidents have all said, and Adam Johnson tweeted about this and he's got the receipts, the articles, the videos. Last 3 presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, all of them said, America is not the policeman of the world. America should not be the policeman of the world. It's not a thing that's unique to Trump. It's not a thing that's negative. Now, furthermore, Donald Trump is acting as the policeman of the world. Donald Trump is bombing 8 different countries right now. We're still waging a shadow war in Africa. Donald Trump is, and John Bolton and his merry band of vicious neocon thugs, they're trying to do regime change in Venezuela. They're waging economic warfare with sanctions. They're trying to squeeze out Maduro. They're trying to topple the Iranian government. They're waging economic warfare there as well. Literally in violation of the International Criminal Court. We're sanctioning medicine going into Iran and people are dying because they can't get their medicine. We're trying to force their oil exports to zero to try to force regime change. Collapse the economy, force regime change. We pulled out of the deal. So we are acting like the international bully. We're still in Iraq. We're still in Afghanistan. We're now in Syria. Trump tweeted about getting out of the Middle East, but he didn't actually get out of there. If anything, we're more in there than we were. So Trump is acting like the policeman of the world. You're trying to conflate Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump here, when in reality, Bernie's foreign policy is the polar opposite of Donald Trump. And you're not even accurately describing what Donald Trump does. You're using his rhetoric. Why not go out there and say, Bernie, Trump says he wants to make America great, and yet you are trying to also make America great. Why is that okay? It's so smarmy and gross and disingenuous and underhanded. Let's have a discussion about the actual issues. Instead, the framing of the questions up front are trying to trip them up, but also they're massively biased and he's pretending like they're objective. There's nothing objective about that. By the way, exact same thing. It was Dana Bash who asked about the TPP, and her question was framed from the perspective of, why would you want to give control of international markets over to China? So the framing of the question was, well, obviously TPP makes sense. What is wrong with you? That was the framing of the question. So it was adversarial from the perspective of the establishment and adversarial from the perspective of the far right. That's the framing of all these questions. And you'll notice this throughout mainstream media. Who are they tougher on? Candidates who are not for Medicare for all or candidates who are for Medicare for all? They are more adversarial to the people who are supporting Medicare for all. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Why would all the evidence says the opposite. All the evidence says the single-payer systems around the world function way better than our system. Why aren't they being equally as tough or more tough on the people who are arguing for tweaks around the edges, for the people who are arguing for expanding Obamacare or a public option? Why are they not getting tough questions about, hey, man, this is going to leave, millions of people uninsured. This is going to leave hundreds of thousands of medical bankruptcies. How is this your plan? Your plan is really a half measure, isn't it? They're never tough on the people who are against Medicare for all. They're only tough on the people who are for Medicare for all. They're never tough on the people who are pro-war. They view that as the position, the default position. They're only tough on the people who are anti-war, and they try to conflate him with Trump. Trump bad. Trump anti-war. Why you anti-war? They're so up their own ass that it's infuriating, and I really hope your average viewer can see through this bullshit, because most of the questions were like that. Most of the questions were adversarial from the perspective of the establishment or from the perspective of the far right. They don't frame it in a way where it's objective, where it's empirical, when it's from the position of the people. Hey, let's be adversarial, but from the perspective of what the people overwhelmingly want, because this is supposed to be a representative democracy. They do not do that. So it is an embarrassing showing from Tapp Jaker, from Dana Bash, from Don Lemon. It was just, it was maybe the second worst thing of the debate behind John Delaney.